last few days of the car market have been, well, a bit volatile. And we saw some of this volatility play out in the lead up to tariffs that were implemented last week. And as we closed out the first quarter of 2025, which also happened last week. And when it comes to Q1 of 2025 sales data, well, the results are all over the board. First is General Motors. General Motors has been a strong player post-pandemic, being one of the first legacy automakers to get a real grip on electric vehicles, and with a slew of brands under their umbrella that saw sales growth in Q1. But it sure as hell wasn't carried by this, because Corvettes have been seeing a huge slump in sales, and in Q1 of 2025, Corvettes alone declined in sales by 21%. And as we talked about in a video just last week, Corvettes are being discounted left and right, both new and used, because dealerships just can't move them off of their lot. Sure, this 2025 Z06 looks incredibly good, but whenever you take a look at the price tag, the Corvette is just too damn expensive, with this one being nearly $140,000. Instead, Chevy was carried by things like this, their trucks and SUVs, which saw double-digit sales growth in the first quarter. But despite the fact that Chevrolet was carried by things like their trucks and SUVs, if you were to ask me, and I'm sure many other consumers, their trucks and SUVs are still far too expensive. I mean, let's take a look at this 2025 Suburban. This car has a total vehicle price of $76,350. This is incredibly expensive just on its own, but this is one of those dealerships that charges some BS dealership add-ons. And in the case of this specific car, you're also going to be paying for Eldorado Connect, which is $995, door edge guards and handle inserts, which is $295, window tint, which is $589, and diamond coating, which is $795, which brings us to a price of $79,024 for the Suburban. That is incredibly expensive, and every single vehicle on this lot new has those exact same dealership add-ons. Ford, on the other hand, did not fare as well as General Motors, and they saw a 2.7% sales decline in the first quarter of 2025. With hot sellers like the Maverick seeing a 2.7% sales decline, but staples within the Ford lineup, like the Ford F-150, saw strong sales growth in the first quarter, with the F-150 specifically seeing sales growth of 24.5%. The Lightning, though, those sales have declined. But one of the more surprising statistics that came out of Q1 was the performance of the Ford Mustang versus the Mach-E, which is also supposed to be a Mustang. The Mustang, which is basically a car that's in a segment of its own, given the state of the 2025 car market, saw a decrease in deliveries of 31.6%. The Mach-E saw a 21% sales increase year over year, and about 9,600 units were delivered of the Mach-E in Q1. Which means that not only did the Mach-E see more growth on a percentage basis compared to the Mustang, but the Mach-E also delivered more volume than the Mustang as well. Like this non-premium Mustang GT, which it may be hard to see, but it has cloth interior. This car has a base price of $42,000, but this specific car is listed at $50,355. And after dealership add-ons, which includes the blue steel protection package, window tint nitrogen package, exterior interior protection plan, and theft recovery system, that brings you to $52,839 for this car, which is just too much for what you get. Toyota, on the other hand, saw measly sales growth of just 1% in Q1, with some very clear winners and underperformers in their own lineup. The RAV4 saw sales decline, which isn't entirely surprising given the fact that the RAV4 is on the cusp of a redesign. And the Toyota Crown tanked in sales. There isn't even one here to film with. The Tacoma saw sales absolutely skyrocket in Q1 with a 177.5% increase in deliveries, officially making the Tacoma the third best-selling car within Toyota's lineup. And while I admit that I may be a bit biased, I actually think that of all the cars that we looked at today, this Tacoma right here is one of the ones that doesn't feel too overpriced. This is one of the first times I've seen a TRD Pro Tacoma up close, and the car looks incredibly good. And while it may be difficult to see the interior of this car is incredibly nice. And sure, at $66,169, it is very expensive, but you at least feel like you're getting a lot for that price. Even HP likes it. Toyota's hybrid and electric vehicle lineup was a clear bright spot with their sales data for Q1, with Toyota's BZ4X, which is sort of an electric RAV4 alternative, seeing an increase in deliveries of 103%, and the Toyota Prius seeing an increase of 77.4%. Most automakers fared very well in Q1, with brands like Hyundai seeing the best March of their history and a strong first quarter. Nissan saw double-digit sales growth with their Versa, a clear indicator that consumers want cheaper cars. But there were a few automakers that not only saw sales decline, but they saw sales tank. Like Stellantis saw a 12% sales drop across their entire lineup in Q1, with Jeep falling 10%, Ram sales fell by 2% year over year, Chrysler actually increased in sales by 2%, Dodge declined by a whopping 49%, and Alfa Romeo fell by 15%. Now, in the case of this local Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Alfa Romeo dealership, they truly have a little bit of everything. You can see here that they have a row of Ram trucks that literally probably takes up 25% of the lot. We have a couple of the brand new electric Chargers, which I gotta be honest, I didn't even really realize were on dealership lots. And we have some very expensive Wagoneers and Jeep products. But one thing that I noticed with every single car that's on this specific dealership lot is that there isn't pricing on a single car, not one, which is actually super lame. But at this point in time, bad sales numbers for Stellantis is sort of business as usual, which means that when it comes to Q1 data, there was one car company that was the clear loser, and that's Tesla. Tesla deliveries dropped by 13% last quarter, which was not only lower than last year, but it was also lower than analyst expectations, tying a bow on Tesla's worst quarter since 2022. And it doesn't look as though Q2 is starting off to a strong start either. Sure, supposedly Elon Musk is stepping down from Doge, but the damage here has probably already been done. Tesla is also undergoing some factory shakeups as it preps to produce more of the new updated Model Ys, which is obviously a necessity, but still isn't a good thing given the fact that the Model Y and the Model 3 are two pillars within Tesla's lineup. In fact, the Model Y is an incredibly hot-selling car, but in my local Tesla service center, which is a huge Tesla dealership, this was the only Model Y that I could find on their entire lot. One single Model Y. One thing about Tesla that never ceases to amaze me is the volume difference of models like the Model Y and the Model 3 compared to cars like the S, the X, the Cybertruck. Because cars like the Model S and the Cybertruck may be the ones that make headlines under Tesla's lineup, the Model Y and the Model 3 really carry the team for Tesla because combined, the S, X, and Cybertruck only made up 4% of total deliveries for Tesla in Q1. Either way, though, Tesla was the clear loser of Q1. And so let's see if they can make some changes in Q2. But based off of the current tariff situation, I'm not holding my breath for any automaker. Like always, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it. So make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video. Because cars like the Tesla Model S or the S... Scary.